battered but proud people of the Empire State. From the financial and entertainment epicenter of New York City to the sleeping and empty small cities and towns of upstate, which once bustled with manufacturing, mining, and farming. We all know from inspiration, history, and nature, we deserve a return to the success and growth of generations past, a birthright being squandered by corruption in Albany, and the depredations of an insecure, scheming mountebank posing as governor, who loathes both us and himself. As liberty beckoned to enslaved peoples behind the Iron Curtain via American broadcasts after World War II, we now say, believe, rise, and join us. Welcome to Radio Free New York.
Hey guys, welcome to Radio Free New York. I'm your host, Andrew Hollister, and we've got Bob Savage here with us.
Indeed we do. Hello, comrades.
Hey, how's it going, Bob? How have you been?
I've been perfectly fine. What a week of weather we're having. It's a marvelous thing.
It's absolutely beautiful. Yesterday, I got in a nice walk in the morning. I got a nice walk in the evening. I popped over to the beach. I had some dinner at Bill Gray's.
Ooh, nice.
So, yeah. No, it's things are more and more places are starting to open up, which is really nice. But the beach and the pier, we walked the pier, still fairly desolate, which is kind of nice, to be honest. I didn't have to fight for a parking spot, but I think a lot of people must still be staying home.
I'm pretty darn excited. I got a haircut for the first time since March 3rd.
Wow, that's great. You must have been rocking like an afro or something then over at the station there.
Yeah, it wasn't curly enough for that, but boy, it was starting to look pretty hippie-like. I lost 5 pounds. It's great. I got all that hair off, so that's good.
That's great, yeah. I joke too that, I could lose 10 pounds if I had got my hair cut, but unfortunately, my physical fitness routine suffered throughout all this coronavirus, so I actually put on weight that was not from my hair or my beard that I'm slowly working on getting rid of.
Yeah, that's the whole trick. I've been working outside. We're doing a lot of mowing in the AM transmitter site here, so that's a good workout every day. But I think we've all put on, now that we're COVID hermits, put on those pounds. So I would expect we're going to see a land office business with gyms as soon as phase 4 hits, to mix a metaphor or two.
Yeah. And, the biggest thing for me was I have a pretty set routine of going to the butcher shop, getting meat, and kind of like planning out the week. But most of the places I would shop at were shut down and closed. And I wasn't going to go through that same process at one of the bigger chains. A, it's just like way more expensive, and B, the process of waiting in line, 100 at a time or whatever the numbers was, it just took so long. I spent most of the time eating either takeout or stuff in the pantry, and that stuff just isn't as healthy as those fresh meat and veggies.
The takeout stuff that's been my downfall the last 90 days.
Yeah, same here. So, but something. So today I wanted to kind of open things up, have some of our listeners give us some suggested topics. But before we dive into those, I do want to remind everybody that primaries are coming up and early voting is open. So I know some of you are voting by absentee ballot. You should have received that in the mail already. Make sure you fill it out, mail it back. If you're not going to do absentee ballot voting, you can do early voting. So you can go to the polls today. You'll have to go to your county board of elections website, find out where those polling sites are, go in, sign in. They'll print out a ballot for you, fill it out, and vote. And if you're going to vote on voting day, that's Tuesday. I don't recall. I think the primary hours are a little shorter than the general election. I'm not sure what those hours are. Bob, do you know off the top of your head?
I don't. No.
Yeah. But I want to remind everybody about that, and then also remind you guys about my friend Dwayne Whitmer, who is running for Congress. He does have a primary, so if you're a registered libertarian, I want to remind you guys to go out there and vote. we actually have two primaries going on. So Dwayne Whitmer, he's running for Congress. He has a primary. And we have our Monroe County Court Justice, Meredith Vaca, is also running a primary. So I would ask you guys to at least take a look at them, see if you support their views. And if you do, I'd appreciate you guys go out and make sure you participate in the primary. Both have been on the show many times in the past, and I think it'd be good for you guys to check them out and consider voting for them.
Well, you want to do some fun police news here while we wait for folks to decide, mull over in their minds what they want to talk about today.
Yeah, absolutely. I see some comments are starting to roll in. So what do you got for us, Bob?
Well, we got a bunch of fun stuff here. First of all, Detroit. Our good friends in Detroit. Report says a big
Detroit's still on the map?
It may not be for long. Big uptick in crime. Color me shocked because of defunding the city's police department. The city cut back its police force funding during a historic bankruptcy in 2014. Funding for the police department in Detroit has fallen 20% in the last 6 years. Starting salaries $40,000 a year. Can you imagine? Wages for cops cut 10%. They've never recovered, accounting for inflation. Health benefits for retired cops stopped. Pension payments postponed. But in Detroit, gutting police department budgets has helped a downward spiral. We don't have enough police as it is, said Rochelle Jones, a working mother of two. People are acting the fool out here, and now you know the police aren't going to be coming around this summer with all that's going on. So what are the children supposed to do? During 80 days of the coronavirus lockdown, 18 children were shot in Detroit. In the city, there have been 100 homicides so far this year. That's a 25% spike over last year. There have been 271 non-fatal shootings. That's an increase of 30%. So defunding police, really great idea. Let's see. We got a few more things here. Meanwhile, New York City Commissioner Dermot Shea announced Monday, quote, effective immediately, the NYPD will disband its anti-crime unit, assigning roughly 600 plainclothes officers to other units. And one more little piece of police news for you folks on Radio Free New York. At least 250 convicted and accused criminals freed from New York's Rikers Island prison have been rearrested 450 times thanks to Governor Andrew Cuomo's jailbreak directive. NYPD data reported by NBC New York's Melissa Russo reveals since Cuomo issued a statewide order demanding jails and prisons release inmates to abide by social distancing measures in late March, 250 inmates from Rikers Island have been rearrested.
Wow. Now, how many do we know how many people were released initially? Like, is that like a big percentage? Is it a small percentage? I don't know. 250 sounds like a lot, but I don't know in Rikers.
As far as the total population of Rikers, I'd have to look it up. I don't know offhand, but I mean, even in a city the size of New York, 250 inmates and 450 arrests is not can't be a good thing. We also heard on Jim Quinn's show here this morning on our flagship station that the zip code 10075, which I think is Upper East Side, has lost 40% of its population. Now, these are wealthy people. They've just decided, that's it. I'm done with New York. And they've bought houses either upstate or in other areas, outside of New York City. They're gone.
Yeah. And it's interesting because I've met a couple people in the last 90 days from New York City who are up here in Rochester. And they said, oh, yeah, with all the coronavirus stuff happening, we left. They're like, it's not safe for us in New York City. So we came upstate, which also kind of, there's a certain mindset in New York City. There's a certain political leaning in New York City.
You think?
I don't know how I feel those people coming up here and spreading that up here. That could be other political issues for us. I mean, of course, they have the right to go wherever they want and, all of that. If they want to choose to move somewhere, they can. But we see even with Florida, for example, people fleeing from New York from bad policies that they were voting for in New York. Now they're bringing those bad ideological views to Florida, and now Florida's starting to have issues and battles and stuff like that because of it.
Yeah, and similar things have taken place in, for example, Colorado, which used to be a red state, has been invaded by people who are disheartened by developments in their native California. So what they've done is they've brought their ideology to Colorado, and now Colorado is becoming, California East.
Yeah, yeah. I like to call them blue state refugees because that's kind of what they are. And I think I remember doing a radio show, it must have been a year or so ago, about people in Florida saying maybe we should build a wall to keep the people from New York out because they're just bringing all these like bad ideas.
Oh, come on now, Andrew. You know walls don't work. That's crazy.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, they'll just tunnel under it or fly a drone over.
So I got a couple emails here. I see that Cinemark is going to be reopening.
Nice.
Movie theater.
Okay.
It'd be nice to go to the movies. And let's see, Regal Cinemas is reopening. Haven't heard anything from all Chinese-owned AMC yet.
I didn't realize they were owned. When you say all Chinese-owned, like Chinese immigrants or like Chinese corporations overseas? No,
it's owned by I think it's relatives of President Xi. It was some kind of a deal that was brokered by the Bidens. Not that that's a problem, but yeah, AMC. That and by the way, I mean, there's a tremendous awakening going on now of how much influence China has over the content of American movies, because they're financing a lot of productions, Hollywood productions, and so you have all these measures being taken to remove any kind of negative commentary or reflect unfavorably on the Chinese regime.
Interesting. Yeah, I had no idea. That's very interesting. All right, guys, you're listening to Radio Free New York. We're going to take a break. I see there's a bunch of comments in here, so I'm going to scroll through, see if I can find a couple topics you guys want to talk about, and we'll be back here in a moment.
Your business relies on computers and technology to operate. Slow, unreliable networks and servers can cause unplanned downtime and affect your bottom line. The experts at Simple Tech Innovations are here to help. Their preventative maintenance program ensures that your computers and network are kept up to date and monitored for any issues, keeping your business running smoothly. They also help clients achieve HIPAA, PCI, and New York State cybersecurity compliance to keep your network safe and secure. Whatever your business IT needs are, Simple Tech Innovation should be your first call. They've won the Best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. Call them today for a free consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. Simple Tech Innovations.
I'm Las from Action Towing and Service. We are the biggest towing company in New York State, but we do a lot more than just towing. We will tow just about anything, but we will also repair just about anything as well. We offer a courtesy shuttle and pickup. We offer a drop box service. We have all these amenities that we've put in place to make sure that every one of our customers can receive the best service possible. Please give us an opportunity to win your business. Come down and visit us at 275 Marketplace Drive, right off of Jefferson Road.
A reminder from Abate Monroe County. American bikers aim toward education. Distracted driving is dangerous, so pull over and eat. Don't try to read your mail and newspaper, and stay off your cell phone. Make a mental note to be more alert, making it a habit to expect the unexpected. Remember to look twice. Save a life. Train yourself to watch for motorcycles which are harder to see. Join Abate, and your family will be protected with a free $4,000 accident policy. Ride safe. Ride free. Ride often. Abate. If you ride with us. Google Abate Monroe County.
Why do businesses choose to move their website from Wix and Squarespace to Simple Tech Innovations? Maybe it's their excellent customer service or attention to detail. Maybe it's their ability to give a truly customized solution. Or perhaps they just like the fact that Simple Tech is a local small business that builds great relationships with its clients. Whatever the reason may be, you can rest assured knowing that that the local team at SimpleTech has your best interest in mind when building or updating your website. They're hands-on and love helping customers achieve their goals. But don't take my word for it. They've won the best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. If your website doesn't match your dreams or isn't achieving your goals, give the professionals at SimpleTech Innovations a call today for a consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. SimpleTech Innovations.
You're listening to Radio Free New York.
All right, guys, welcome back to Radio Free New York. I'm your host, Andrew Hollister, and today I'm talking about what you guys want to talk about. So you guys are welcome to call into the station. That number is 585-346-3000. Once again, that's 585-346-3000. Or you can jump on one of the live streams on YouTube or Facebook. Just search Andrew C. Hollister. You'll see we're live right now. If you're listening to this show, maybe after hours when we're not live, make sure you hit the like button, hit the subscribe so you do get notified when we go live. And then you can participate in the discussion as it's happening. So I'm going to start off with a question from Chase, which she's asking why the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission says age discrimination is 40 or above, and it doesn't count anybody below the age of 40. That's actually pretty interesting. I wasn't aware of that. I did try to find the official form, but it looks like I have to first create a login for their portal, then I can go in, and then I got choose a business to file a claim against. So I couldn't find the official form, but I would say it's almost discriminatory for them to think that you could only discriminate against people of the age 40 or above, because I've been in many situations where I see people discriminating against younger people, saying, oh, well, they're a millennial or they're this or that. They must be really dumb, so we're not going to even consider them. So that's pretty interesting to me. I'm sure that has to do with I don't even know. Bob, what are your thoughts? Why would that be? I did see Mark actually. He mentioned in the live stream he thinks it's because people above the age of 40 have more experience and they get paid more versus those who are younger typically have less experience and get paid less. But I don't know if you could still discriminate against them regardless if they're getting paid more or less.
Well, the reasons are going to be different probably in almost every individual case. But what this really points out, though, is the fallacy of setting up arbitrary grievance groups for certain, social or economic preferences, doesn't it? If we're gonna isolate a certain group of people based on age or sex or gender, I guess they're the same thing, or whatever the criterion is, if we separate people out, there's going to be, you can't escape the arbitrary nature of that. So some people are going to get a result which is contrary to what has been intended by even well-meaning classifications like this. You try to divide people for whatever reason, you're asking for conflict.
Yeah. And I see Jay mentioned that they should include political party affiliation as one of the reasons people could be discriminated against. I think that's a real thing, unfortunately. And you see this with some of these mega-sized corporations where they have a political ideology as a corporation. And I'll mention Google being one of them. I'm sure the SEO is going to drop on this episode, but that's okay. No, there's been many instances of employees from Google and other large corporations coming forward and saying that they felt that they were held back from getting a raise or a promotion or other things like that because maybe they had a conservative ideology and their bosses and the company's direction was more of a progressive or leftist ideology, even if it wasn't like the corporation's specific goal or mission or direction, but the people above them having a different political ideology, they feel that they're discriminated against. And I think that happens. I haven't personally experienced it. I've only heard other people's accounts of it. I've heard enough of them, though, that I feel like it probably is an issue.
All right, well, let's head down to Naples, all the way down the bottom of the hole there. Richard is on the line for us here on Radio Free New York. Hi, Richard.
How are you gentlemen this afternoon?
We're good. Can you turn your radio down? Because we're getting a little feedback from you.
Okay, I'm going to have to walk my way over there in a wheelchair.
Oh, sorry about that. Well, you know what we'll do? We'll just turn your control down when you're not talking in that way. Don't inconvenience yourself. What do you want to talk about?
What I would like to talk with you gentlemen about is everybody's into all these issues as far as lives matter and stuff. I'm dealing with an issue from a gentleman that was beaten to death in the Erie County holding facility in the year 2012. But what I'm really concerned about, I'm taking care of that through the AG and actually the governor's office. I'm very familiar with the Voice of Liberty, and that's what I try to use is my freedom of speech. But what I'm really concerned about actually is there's 2,000 plus homeless children in the Rochester City School District. I'm not sure how many there are out here in this neck of the woods, but my daughter and my grandson were homeless. And I'm wondering how we can get help to these victims of domestic violence and the homelessness. I think that should be an issue that our governor and everybody else should really think about, especially in this time when where do you have a home to go to? It's very scary.
Yeah, no question about it. Hey, Richard, I think that probably this is something that would be best addressed case by case. Andrew, you can jump in here too if you have any thoughts on this. But if you call your Department of Social Services folks at the county level, they're the ones who are closest to the to the situation. You can give the particulars to your local county folks, and they can deal with issues of homelessness, certainly domestic abuse. This is usually a law enforcement issue, but sometimes social services can be involved. And there are a lot of really great organizations on a county-by-county basis, such as the Willow organization in Rochester. I know Livingston County has got Chances and Changes, and there are similar services available in other counties. So you talk to your leaders in your town and in your county. I think that they can probably help point the desired resources to deal with that. Thanks, Richard. Appreciate the call. Richard's line is open at 585-346-3000 or 1-866-552-1009. Andrew, you still there?
Yep, I'm here. So, and we could talk about the root cause of those issues, right? Homelessness, especially right now with everything going on, with the economy being forced to shut down by the governor. Homelessness is something that I don't want to say is a direct cause of government, but government hasn't made it better. You know, we could talk about things like
economic policies are frequently to blame for homelessness and for poverty, because it puts viable businesses out of contention. You know, you can't provide jobs if the government structure and the taxation and the regulation are such that you can't make any money. The business is going to fail or move elsewhere, and there go the jobs.
Yeah, and occupational licensing, I think, is one of the major drivers of homelessness. You know, you start saying you cannot perform this job that people are willing to pay you money for without an arbitrary license. And I'm not talking about, going to trade school and learning to become an electrician. I'm talking about, somebody who wants to braid hair. somebody who wants to walk dogs. You know, these things that people start as businesses to lift themselves out of poverty. And New York State slaps them with a $2,000 license or fines if they don't get it. How can they lift themselves out of poverty with this sort of stuff? Guys, you're listening to Radio Free New York. I'm going to check your comments in the live stream, and we're going to pick them up when we come back from the break. We'll be back in a moment.
It's Radio Free New York. Let this local station know that you listen, and we appreciate your support.
Now, more than twice the power. WYSL. More powerful FM 92.1, FM 95.5 West, and 1040 AM WYSL Avon Rochester.
Here's the latest forecast from the News 10 NBC Weather Center for today. Another beauty out there. Tons of sunshine, a little warmer this afternoon. Should get up into the lower 80s for a high today. But still that low humidity tonight. Clear and pleasant. We'll drop back into the upper 50s on Thursday. Another beautiful day with sunshine, a few puffy clouds. Temps in the mid and upper 80s. I'm Rich Canilia, WYSL.
Why do businesses choose to move their website from Wix and Squarespace to SimpleTech Innovations? Maybe it's their excellent customer service or attention to detail. Maybe it's their ability to give a truly customized solution. Or perhaps they just like the fact that SimpleTech is a local small business that builds great relationships with its clients. Whatever the reason may be, you can rest assured knowing that the local team at SimpleTech has your best interest in mind when building or updating your website. They're hands-on and love helping customers achieve their goals. But don't take my word for it. They've won the best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. If your website doesn't match your dreams or isn't achieving your goals, give the professionals at SimpleTech Innovations a call today for a consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. SimpleTech Innovations.
Because your future is worth it. MGM Associates Insurance. Proudly serving the region since 1984, MGM can meet your coverage needs, ranging from home, condo, and auto, all the way to specialized policies for business, workers' comp, to limo and taxi insurance, and coverage for tech professionals like IT specialists. They can also help lead you through the confusing maze in the new world of health insurance coverage and options. MGM Associates is large enough to serve you, but small enough to care, so you don't have to wait in line on some 800 number to get prompt personal attention. MGM Associates is the only winner of the National Best Practices Award 5 times in a row. MGM is proud to support veterans groups, including Heroes Home Advantage. For your personal, business, home, or professional insurance needs, put the experience of MGM Associates Insurance on your team. Locally and proudly owned at 1745 Penfield Road in Penfield. 381-7008 or mgminsure.com. An associate of Finger Lakes Fire and Casualty, Route 227 in Trumansburg, New York.
FM Talk.
Here's an important announcement from the Livingston County Department of Health. Protect your family from COVID-19. The method of spreading coronavirus is from person to person. Since no vaccine exists, it's important to take common sense steps to protect yourself and others. Avoid unnecessarily leaving your home. Cough or sneeze into your arm, not your hand. Consider wearing a face mask in public. Although children under 2, those with trouble breathing, or those who cannot remove the mask by themselves should not wear one. Maintain social distancing, at least 6 feet away from other people. Wash your hands frequently. Don't touch your face. Clean and disinfect frequently handled surfaces. Call your doctor at once if you have any of the COVID-19 symptoms: a fever, cough, shortness of breath, heaviness on your chest, or trouble breathing. For more information about the coronavirus, Google Livingston County Department of Health and COVID-19 or call 243-7299.
At Victor Chevrolet, we want you to know we are here for your transportation needs. Our factory-trained specialist in the Victor Service Department can expertly handle any repair. Our concierge service can arrange for pickup and delivery of your vehicle if you choose. We are here for repairs, maintenance, inspections, warranty work, and recalls. Victor Chevrolet can help no matter where you bought your car or truck. And if you need a new vehicle, Victor can sell you a car virtually on our website, victorchevrolet.com, or by appointment at our store. Call 869-6196. Trade-ins, financing, leasing. They're all available remotely and at your convenience. We're here to fully serve Chevy customers in Victor, Canandaigua, Macedon, Fairport, and throughout the Metro and Finger Lakes. Depend on Victor Chevrolet, here for you with sales or any service issue, no matter where you bought your vehicle. Give us a call at 869-6196 or visit victorchevrolet.com. You can depend on the team at Victor Chevy for all your transportation needs, now and in the future.
Time to get out of the house. Time for a scoop or two of ice cream. Find premium ice cream in a kaleidoscope of flavors comes to downtown Rochester at the all-new Scoops on Gibbs, a traditional ice cream parlor in the heart of town. Get your Scoops on Gibbs, your shakes on Gibbs, your sundaes on Gibbs. At Scoops, enjoy our street-side patio seating, nightly happy hour, and several of Rochester's finest food trucks occasionally right out front. So, keep your distance, but get yourself to Scoops on Gibbs, Gibbs Street at University, a block north of Eastman Theater.
You're listening to Radio Free New York.
Hey guys, welcome back to Radio Free New York. I'm your host, Andrew Hollister. I was scrolling through the comments here, looking at things you guys want us to talk about, and Mark, Garrett, and Matthew all asked, are we going to interview Jo Jorgensen? And absolutely, we'll definitely interview Jo. For those of you listening who might not know who that is, Jo Jorgensen is the Libertarian nominee for president. So yes, we'll absolutely have her on the show for one of our White House Wednesdays, and then we'll definitely try to get Spike Cohen on the show as well. I'm pretty excited about Spike. He's her VP running mate. He's younger. I think he's really going to connect with young voters. He's that just got a lot of freshness to add. So I'm excited for both of them. We will absolutely have both of them on the show. No question about it. And it sounds like we've got a caller who called in. I think Steve from Friendship, if I recall.
Yes. Hey, Steve, how's it going?
Good. Thank you. Thanks for taking my call. Today's Wednesday. What's the subject matter?
Whatever you want to talk about.
Whatever you want to talk about.
Yeah,
whatever you want Wednesday.
Thank you. Is it true Obama gave out lots of phones?
Yes.
Does anybody have a number on that? Or
not offhand, no.
Or an idea of how many phones got loose there?
No.
So it's kind of partially true. I believe, if I recall, this program was started maybe under the Clinton administration. It didn't start with Obama. It had been in existence. But yes, his administration carried that on and continued that program.
And the idea of that was people had to have phones. It was a needed thing. What was the...
So it was, the program was changed. Originally, it was for landline phones many, many years ago. And at some point, the government determined that they weren't going to use landline phones anymore. They were going to do cell phones instead. I wish I had more factual information for you. I'm just kind of like pulling from what I recall, because this is something that did come up quite a bit during his presidency, and I was well versed in it then. But if I recall, there's a federal program to help people who basically were below the poverty line, if I recall, to have a landline phone in their home to be able to call 911 in case of emergency. And it was something like 500 minutes a month or something. Then I believe during Clinton's presidency, but I could be wrong. And if somebody knows the answer, feel free to post it in the live stream chat. I believe the Clinton administration changed them from landline phones to cell phones, and every president since has renewed the program, to my understanding.
Okay, well, I'd be an interesting case then, because I live in a gully without cell phone service, and yet, I've got I'm disabled and need to have a phone. And right now my choice is Verizon, which, oh my goodness, for what I use my phone for, the charges are astronomical.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this, Steve. Can't you get a wireline phone there? Can't you get a wired phone in your house?
That's what I'm talking on right now.
Oh, okay. All right.
That's what I'm
sound
on.
good. So.
Thank you. Not during that last storm, it wasn't. It wonkied out on me for 3 or 4 days. Let me ask you guys another question here. Is it true that the U.S. government has huge warehouses full of computers that listen to these conversations on cell phones, and they have algorithms that pull out certain information?
I don't think they listen.
If you tripped a certain word, like dynamite, terrorism, or whatever, they might take an interest in that conversation.
Not that I'm aware of as far as monitoring of content. Andrew, correct me if I'm wrong. And there's a metadata that gets picked off, like the phone numbers that you call and the phone numbers who call you, and that's analyzed constantly. And that information, I believe, is warehoused.
Yeah. So this goes back to the stuff Snowden exposed, and there's been a lot of stuff in WikiLeaks. Whether or not I don't think that they specifically record every call that gets made. But if you find yourself on one of those lists, then chances are pretty good they are recording your calls, and they're keeping them, and they have programs that analyze speech and stuff like that to see if you're a bad person, a terrorist. And that is why so many people are saying, well, the government is wiretapping Americans. I don't believe it's everybody, but I don't think any of us truly know the answer. However, if you found yourself in the interest of a federal agency, there's probably a good chance that, the data on your home internet connection, on your cell phone, and, possibly even your landline could have been subpoenaed. And that information could be being collected and monitored. But I don't think you're going to find that there's a physical person doing that. It's going to be more of a computer system that understands speech and language structure that will sort through your data to see if there's things of interest there that the government thinks is bad, that you might do something.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, they really don't need to monitor the words of your conversation because their algorithms are so good and the computers are so smart that they can derive an amazing amount of information just out of the metadata that we talked about, the frequency of your calls, where you're calling, who's calling you, when those calls are being placed, what time during the year, and so on and so forth. They just are able to conclude all kinds of information that really is a distressingly accurate picture of who you are. So that's kind of what's going on there. Thanks for the call. Appreciate it down there in Friendship, New York. Phone number is 585-346-3000. Toll free 866-552-1009. If you're listening to us on one of our affiliates, like in Wayne County, WACK, or the Patriot in Elmira, you want to call in the noon hour if you want to get on the show.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I see here Jay mentioned in the Facebook stream here, he says Alexa can do it. She understands whispering too. Yeah, it's true. If you have one of those Amazon Echoes or one of those Amazon Dots, there has been, I believe, 2 murder cases now that they used recordings from those Alexa devices. Even after people said, they can't record or store the data. Well, the device might not be able to record or store it, but the data gets transmitted to the cloud where it can be saved. And so that's happened twice now. And I'll remind you guys, too, a lot of us have either iPhones or Android phones. And how does Siri know that you're talking to her? Well, she's listening to what you're saying. Same thing with the Google app. I think it's Google Home now. They keep changing the name, or your Google Assistant. If that's enabled, it's got the microphone on. It's listening every moment of the day for you to say, "Okay, Google." So, "Okay, Google, what's the weather today?" Well, in order for Google to know that you were going to talk to it, it has to have your microphone on. Same thing with Siri. Siri, what's the weather tomorrow? It's got to listen. And now, hopefully, everybody who's listening with an iPhone and an Android phone, now you guys know what the weather's going to be today and tomorrow.
You're right. It already spoke up. I won't have one of those things in my house. One of those speakers.
Yeah.
We have one. It's a Dot, but I unplug it all the time, much to the distress of my wife and our son.
Yeah, there was I think it was on one of the major comedy stations. Somebody asked Alexa to order like Pampers or something like that, and something like 200,000 people, their Alexa ordered Pampers when they heard him ask for it over the air. So, that stuff can be dangerous. I mean, it's funny. People talk about. Matt says, "Stop saying that. My phone keeps interrupting your show." There you go. All right, guys, you're listening to Radio Free New York. When we come back, I'm going to go through some more of your comments, some more of your calls. We're going to talk about what you guys want to talk about. We'll be back in a moment on Radio Free New York.
Why do businesses choose to move their website from Wix and Squarespace to SimpleTech Innovations? Maybe it's their excellent customer service or attention to detail. Maybe it's their ability to give a truly customized solution. Or perhaps they just like the fact that SimpleTech is a local small business that builds great relationships with its clients. Whatever the reason may be, you can rest assured knowing that the local team at SimpleTech has your best interest in mind when building or updating your website. They're hands-on and love helping customers achieve their goals. But don't take my word for it. They've won the best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. If your website doesn't match your dreams or isn't achieving your goals, give the professionals at SimpleTech Innovations a call today for a consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. SimpleTech Innovations.
Aircraft Environmental Systems proudly supports Radio Free New York. Rochester-based leaders in climate simulation chambers for America's R&D laboratories. We're experts in troubleshooting, calibrations, custom designs, and consulting for more than 40 years. Industry pioneers, we created the first ever fleet of temperature, humidity, and altitude test chambers available to rent coast to coast. Trained and trusted by environmental chamber manufacturers, we are ACES. Find us at acesinc.com.
Fiorella, a family-owned farm-to-table Italian restaurant at the Rochester Public Market, is open for curbside contactless takeout Wednesday through Saturday. Lunch 11:30 to 2 and dinner 4 to 8. Fiorella offers wood-fired, old-world-style pizza with naturally leavened dough and house-made fresh pasta. Check out our Facebook and Instagram at Restaurant Fiorella for nightly specials. Thursday is gnocchi night. Call 434-5705. View the takeout menu on the web, restaurantfiorella.com.
Your business relies on computers and technology to operate. Slow, unreliable networks and servers can cause unplanned downtime and affect your bottom line. The experts at SimpleTech Innovations are here to help. Their preventative maintenance program ensures that your computers and network are kept up to date and monitored for any issues, keeping your business running smoothly. They also help clients achieve HIPAA, PCI, and New York State cybersecurity compliance to keep your network safe and secure. Whatever your business IT needs are, SimpleTech Innovations should be your first call. They've won the best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. Call them today for a free consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. SimpleTech Innovations.
Radio Free New York.
All right, welcome back to Radio Free New York. I'm your host, Andrew Hollister. Today's Wednesday, and we're talking about what you guys want to talk about. So as I scroll through here, I've got some of the comments, and Mark on YouTube says, there's much more that could be said to illustrate government's failure to manage this crisis properly. Mark, man, we've been beating this drum for the last 100 days, I think. Everything from terrible government communication, lots of government overreach, just, the FDA holding back testing, which I actually see Garrett mentions in here. He says keeping the FDA alive is the biggest federal failure surrounding COVID. I agree. I mean, I'm pretty hard pressed to see a legitimate reason for the FDA to exist in its current capacity. If we wanted the FDA to stay around, it could stay around as an organization that produces standards that companies could choose to adopt if they wish.
Yeah, like
but
National Bureau of Standards kind of thing. Except
it's
kind
like
of a medical, focus.
Yeah, because we already have medical associations who can create standards ran by doctors and not bureaucrats. I really think that the FDA, if we had to keep it, should just be a body that retains information and provides standards based on that information, but shouldn't have any regulatory authority. It shouldn't be able to carve out policy or anything like that. They could produce standards just like the American Medical Association and many others. In terms of food, farmers associations and farmers insurance companies and things like that should produce the standards. I think the FDA is really gumming up the works with a lot of this stuff.
Well, certainly with the development of vaccines and treatments for coronavirus, they're just kind of like getting in the way. All this bureaucratic nonsense about I've never seen politics swirling around a harmless drug as you see with hydroxychloroquine. It's insane. I mean, okay, so the drug is not approved for treatment of coronavirus. Fine. But it's, as far as it being safe, it's been around for, a generation or more.
Yeah, and I don't know much about it. I'm not a doctor, but I would love to give medical bodies the ability to create their own standards based on their professional opinion and keep politics and bureaucrats out of it entirely. And if the drug's approved by the medical association of your choice, great, take it. If it doesn't follow the standards of one of the medical associations you like, then don't. I think it should be that simple.
Yeah, there's a steroid now that's getting positive attention. It's an inexpensive treatment. And I'm in favor of anything that somebody thinks works and doesn't cost an arm and a leg. I have to say, I tend to be skeptical of remdesivir because whenever you see, Dr. Anthony Fauci and politicians weighing in, and then the media piles on about the wonders of this drug, I'm thinking that's somebody's getting a payday out of that. And that's not the motivator we want in terms of treating coronavirus.
Yeah, no, it's true. And I typically have found with politics that whoever buys the most ads from the media gets the most coverage from the media. So yeah, I would be worried about that for sure. I see Jay's got another comment in here. He says, are there any comments on the self-defense shooting of violent protesters in New Mexico? Apparently, the Albuquerque mayor is siding with a violent mob. So this is actually a good question, and I don't have all the information, but I'll share with you guys what I do have. I encourage you to check it out yourselves, have your own independent view on this. What it looked like to me based on the video.
That Albuquerque mayor, that person got an R or a D after the name? I'm just curious.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I have no idea, to be honest.
I'll check it out while you talk.
Yeah. So what I saw a video, and I only saw one of the videos, two actually, and I know there were a lot more cell phones there, so I haven't seen the whole picture. But what I saw was a group of protesters trying to pull down a statue. I saw a guy there who was a counter protester. I don't know if there was a verbal altercation or what. It was pretty hard for me to determine what was actually happening. I did hear reports that somebody had already attacked him once earlier during the day. I didn't see any evidence of that, but once again, it's pretty fresh. The encounter I saw was all of a sudden a group of people chasing this guy and hitting this guy and pushing him while he was running away. And then he kind of slowed down, and then the people came after him more. The camera kind of moved a little bit because the people were running. I saw him like roll, hit the ground, get up. Two people go after him again, and then you hear gunshots go off. What I saw later was like a freeze frame that the person who had pushed him to the ground and went after him a second time had what looked like a knife in his hand. I don't know if he did. I don't know if he didn't. It was all really, really quick, and the footage wasn't great. It looked like self-defense to me. It really did. Now, some additional video footage might come out that shows that that wasn't the case. But when it comes to something like this, if you are at fear for your life, that usually is a justification for deadly force. So I don't know specifically what the laws are there. I don't know the entire situation, but from the narrow scope that I saw stuff, it looked like it may have been justified as actually self-defense. I always try to put myself in the position of the subject that I see in the video, regardless of where it is. And I think that if there were a group of people chasing me, hitting me with skateboards and throwing stuff at me and pushing me to the ground, and I get up and it looks like somebody's got a knife in their hand and they're going to stab me in the chest or something, I think I would feel like my life was at risk, and I would feel threatened.
Because it is.
Yeah,
Be, under those circumstances, mobs are really ugly things, and they get out of control very quickly. You don't have a lot of time for reflection. You don't have the opportunity to try to reason with a mob. You have to do what's necessary to keep yourself alive. So if those circumstances that you just set forth are true, yeah, sure, it's self-defense.
Yeah, and that's certainly how it looked. And I want to make sure it's clear. I don't know the whole story. I just know what I saw. There may be other details that were obscured and that we'll find out later. But based on what I saw, I mean, that looked like a scary situation. It looked like a situation where he had probably a couple opportunities to pull his firearm and protect himself, and he chose not to. He tried to leave the situation, and the people chased him anyways.
He's lucky he didn't lose the firearm.
Well, that actually goes into like good holster retention, right? Which could be a topic someday. Maybe I'll get Dave from Rochester Personal Defense on, who I've done a lot of training with recently. Dave has been awesome. He certified me in a lot of cool stuff. But yeah, I mean, the fact that he was able to hit the ground and roll and not lose his firearm, nobody even knew he had it, means that he at least had the appropriate gear to keep his firearm secure. Even when being pushed to the ground and rolled over like that. So I'd say he at least appeared to be being responsible as a firearm owner. Now, you could probably say, was he in the best spot? Did he make good decisions being there? Maybe, maybe not. Some of that stuff is going to come up later. I don't know that part of the situation. I don't know if he was provoking those people and the wrath of provoking them caused this situation. I don't know. He could have been perfectly peaceful. He could have been maybe punching people in the head before that video started. I couldn't really speak to that. I can just speak to what I saw, and it looked like a scary, scary situation with mob mentality chasing this guy down the street. What ended up happening, by the way, was the police arrested everybody who was openly armed immediately after that. And I don't know the constitutionality of that. I don't know that that was legal. They basically, anybody who was armed and open carrying got arrested right then and there. I suspect the police were like, holy crap, we need to get the firearms under control here. I think we're going to find out later that probably wasn't okay, because I can't think of any way that it would have been.
That it wasn't okay for them to be carrying?
No, that for them to just arrest anybody who was carrying. I don't know that there's like a law that says you can just arrest anybody who's open carrying right now because somebody else shot a gun off.
And that was that was the criterion.
It appeared
just that they were
based
armed?
that appeared to be the case, that after this guy fired his firearm, that they arrested anybody who was open carrying. That's my understanding. But once again, more information could come out. We could find out that wasn't the course of action. Scary situation either way, guys. Real scary. Thank you so much for joining me on Radio Free New York. I think Kevin's going to talk about Cuomo's police reform tomorrow. So stay tuned, same time, same place.